Hello and welcome to another edition of the DC World Podcast. I am as always your host Jeffrey Gibson, and on today's episode I am going to be reviewing Batwoman Season 3, but first I have some really exciting news to share with you all. The news is that the DC World Podcast has been renewed for a third season, which will start on October 10th and will be 21 episodes long. So I thank each and every one of you who have listened to this podcast. Without you, there would be no point in doing this. And I hope you continue to stick with us going into Season 3. Anyway, let's get on with our Batwoman Season 3 review. I really do not understand how a show went from the brink of the worst show to exist on the CW, to be one of the strongest seasons the CW has seen when it comes to the Arrowverse. Batwoman featured two massive villains in Poison Ivy and the first ever Black Joker. Both of those villains slotted into the story perfectly. This also gives the villains a better chance to shine now the CW has moved Batwoman over to a 13-episode series as opposed to the usual 23. This meant fewer filler episodes and more time to get to the actual story itself. For me personally, I believe the show got better because it stopped focusing on Kate Kane. Even last season when Ryan Wilder was introduced, she was constantly outshined by Kate Kane due to Ruby Rose's shock exit at the end of Season 1. This season Ryan Wilder, played by Javicia Leslie, had a proper chance to shine because the show actually focused on our star character. Unfortunately, Batwoman's live TV ratings never fully recovered, with an average of 458k according to TVSeriesFinal.com. I do understand people's hesitant stance with the season due to the state of last season, but all I can advise to those who give up after Season 2 is to give this season a chance. Each section of the story didn't feel wasted. It felt like the writers really wanted to make sure that each episode left an impact whilst also getting you excited for the next episode. Out of the amount of Batwoman episodes I've watched, it was really only this season that got me excited for the next episode, and that says something. Overall, the current season was fantastic. Everybody from the cast, the writers, to the executives, should be proud of themselves for what they managed to achieve with this. I really hope it lasts. Now to score this episode. To do this I am going to be judging the acting, the writing, the directing and execution. For the acting it's a 4 out of 10, mainly because some of the actors still make this show difficult to watch and don't really fit in with the show. The writing gets a 5 out of 10, and although this season was better written than last season, there are still some scenes that were a little rough around the edges. The directing gets a 10 out of 10. I absolutely loved what the directors did this season, and it couldn't have been easy considering the fact they had to deal with the whole COVID thing on set, and the execution gets a 7 out of 10. I still think there is room for improvement, but this season I think is the best Batwoman season so far, and those marks give Batwoman 26 out of 40. Well folks, it's time we wrapped up this episode. Let me know what you guys think of Batwoman Season 3, and your comments will be featured in next week's show. So until then, thank you all so much for listening, stay safe and have a good week.